Particularly as a building stone, Deccan trap is very much useful because it is very dense and hard, durable, and color is black. Therefore, it is being used to construct temples. The gateway of India is built of these rocks, Deccan trap basalt. It is also a very good use, particularly in cement and concrete. The other economic importance of the Deccan trap is particularly in gemstones. Semi-precious stones like agate, onyx, carnelian, amethyst occur in Deccan traps. The, the next economic important role of the Deccan trap is bauxite. Bauxite is a weathering of Deccan trap produced at a very high degree of humid climate, and laterite also, the iron rich laterite, and these particularly are being used as building stones as well as for the aluminum extraction. Other important economic importance of Deccan trap is the black cotton soil. The black cotton soil is formed out of the Deccan trap known as regur. Aquifers, the vesicular structure and associated interconnected joints or fissures help the traps to possess reasonable groundwater potential. Road metals. Deccan trap results yield excellent road metal because they have good crushing strength and good binding properties. Semi-precious stone. The Deccan trap flows also contain quartz, amethyst, agate, chalcedony and secondary minerals which are used as semi-precious stones. Intertrappean beds. These are the sedimentary beds found associated with Deccan trap lava flows. These intertrappean beds are made up of shales, impure limestone and volcanic detritus of lacustrine and fluviatile origin. The individual beds are usually 1 to 3 meter thick and extend laterally for 5 to 8 kilometers. The intertrappean beds have yielded a rich floral and faunal assemblage. The invertebrate fossil include Physa, Liminia and Natica. The vertebrate fossils are mainly frogs, tortoise and freshwater fishes. Now let us see the petrology part of Deccan trap. The majority of Deccan trap flows are basalt with uniform chemical composition, but rocks like rhyolite, granodiorite, nepheline, cyanite, gabbro, etc. are also being found, particularly in Kutch part of Gujarat region. The essential mineral present in the Deccan trap basalt are labradorite, augite and iron oxide, along with some traces of titanium oxide. Olivine is generally not found in basalt. Some flows show vesicular and amygdaloidal structure with quartz, chalcedony, calcite and zeolite as fillings in the Deccan trap. Texture. Texture means the size, shape and arrangement of the mineral grains in a rock. The grain size of an igneous rock depends upon the rate of cooling of magma. Slower is the rate of cooling, coarser or bigger is the grain size of the rock. In study of texture, following points are to be considered: the shape of a crystal, size of the grain, mutual relation between grains and degree of crystallization. On the degree of crystallization, texture of igneous rock can be divided into following groups. Holocrystalline. Holocrystalline texture is formed when a rock is made up of crystals. It is textured as holocrystalline. Holocrystalline texture when a rock is composed entirely of glassy material, texture is called as holohyaline. Merocrystalline texture. When a rock is composed partly of crystals and partly of glassy material, then the texture is called as merocrystalline. Size of grains. The size of grains in an igneous rock varies considerably. The slow cooling gives crystal time to grow to the size greater than 5 mm. Even in some cases, the grain size up to 10 to 15 mm is also been found in Deccan trap. In rapid cooling, the mineral grains crystallize very quickly as a mass of tiny crystals which are generally less than 1 millimeter size, and in some lavas the cooling is so rapid that they fail to form a crystalline material. Instead of that, a glassy material is being formed. The texture of phaneric igneous rock can be further subdivided as coarse grained texture. Here, the rock more than 5 millimeter in diameter, here the texture is called as coarse grained. Medium grained texture. If the size of the grain is between 1 millimeter to 5 millimeter, then the rock is described as medium grained textured rock. The fine grained texture is that texture when diameter of the grain size is less than 1 millimeter, then that is called as fine grained rock. The grain of an igneous rock are called as euhedral if they show well developed crystals. Faces are partly developed. They are described as subhedral. The term anhedral is used for those grains in which crystal faces are absent. Depending on mutual relation of the grains, the texture of the igneous rocks, particularly basalt, can be classified into four major groups. They are equigranular textures, inequigranular textures, directive textures, and intergrowth textures. Equigranular texture. When the rock contains mineral grains of more or less equal size, then that is called as equigranular texture. Inequigranular texture is that texture where the variation of size is seen in the rock itself. That is called inequigranular texture. They are of porphyritic type. Porphyritic type when large crystals are surrounded by small crystal or glassy matrix. That is called porphyritic texture, and this porphyritic texture is a common phenomena occurring in basalt rock. Poikilotic texture. Poikilotic texture is exactly opposite to that of porphyritic texture. Here, the smaller crystals are enclosed within the large crystals without common orientation. This is called as poikilotic texture. Ophitic texture. Ophitic texture is special type of poikilotic texture in which bigger crystals of augite enclose smaller layers of plagioclase. Directive texture. The texture produced as a result of flow of the lava during the consolidation is called as directive texture. The directive texture can be divided as trachylytic texture and hyphyllatic texture. Intergrowth texture. The intergrowth of quartz and orthoclase or plagioclase that may take place because of simultaneous crystallization, and as a result of which there is an intergrowth of quartz and plagioclase or orthoclase. This is called as graphic texture, in which skeleton of quartz crystals are embedded in plagioclase or orthoclase. This is very common feature of texture found in granitic rocks. Dike. Dike is a wall-like igneous body that cuts across the strata of pre-existing rocks. This is the structure which is commonly found in basaltic rock of Deccan Trap. Dikes are often vertical or steeply inclined. Their thickness varies from few centimeters to hundreds of meters or more. The dikes probably represent a casual fracture into which the magma was injected later on. Sill. A sill is a sheet-like igneous body which runs parallel to the bedding plane of the pre-existing strata. They may be horizontal, inclined or vertical depending upon the attitude of strata in which they are intruded. They vary from centimeters to several hundred meters, but they are always thin as compared to their length along the beds. Sill are commonly made up of dolerites and basalts. So this is about the Deccan Trap. Thank you.